Welcome to ENSCO INSIGHTS, where we take you behind the headlines into the cutting-edge world of space exploration. Join us now as we talk to the people who are making it happen. Hi, I'm your host, Brooke Brown. Currently, there are over 28 active spaceports around the world. 8 new spaceports were added in just the last year, including the Las Vegas spaceport. This is a significant increase from just a few decades ago, when you could count on one hand the number of spaceports in operation. In addition to that, more than 6 states now have official government agencies to attract and regulate space industries in their state. However, it's important to note that the specific structure and focus of these organizations can vary greatly. To find out more on how a state space agency works, we are being joined by Robert Long, a retired U.S. Space Force colonel who now leads Space Florida, one of the oldest state space agencies. Robert's extensive experience in aerospace, from launch operations to strategic planning, makes him a key player in the future of space exploration. Robert, thanks for joining us. You've been running Space Florida just over a year now. What has the first year been like for you?
It's been an amazing year, incredibly busy, which is a good problem to have. But we've got a great team. And when you look at the influx of companies interested in coming to Florida, especially in the space industry, it keeps us busy.
Wow. Would you say that you have a lot of competition these days?
I think generally the industry is so active right now that there's a lot of interest from, of course, on the company side, but then, companies are going to look across the country. And while there is certainly some friendly competition across, but we like to think here in Florida that our pro-business climate and just the tools that we have to offer are really unmatched.
Robert, as you know, not all state space agencies are the same. Space Florida has many parts. You operate some launch pads, a space business park, the old Space Shuttle landing facility, and so much more. Please give our viewers a better understanding of how Space Florida works.
So as the state's Finance and Business Development Authority and Spaceport Authority, we have a couple roles, but primarily our job is to encourage companies to come and grow here in the state. And that's really across the entire state. So we work from the Panhandle all the way down to South Florida. And we're really looking at taking advantage of our unique financial toolkit to partner in a long-term way with companies as they seek to expand and grow. We can do that on any number of locations across the entire state. We have what's called Spaceport Territory, which is a state designation for certain parts across the state, including Cape Canaveral area. And in the long run, really, it's about trying to match the financial tools and the programs that the state has to offer with the company's needs so that we can kind of grow together.
So at the Kennedy Space Center and Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, we have NASA, the Space Force, and Space Florida operations and launch pads. Given the increasing commercialization of space, it seems like Space Florida may be playing a bigger role. How does Space Florida plan to capitalize on this trend and attract more commercial space companies to the state?
Well, we continue. We've seen a roughly 30% increase just in the last year in interest across the state in terms of aerospace companies wanting to grow. So we want to grow along with them and taking advantage of the tools that we have at our disposal. And that means growing ourselves. And we have added additional teammates to the team so that we can handle the influx of interest. But at the same time, it's also about being more efficient and helping the companies, meet their timelines. And what we often like to focus on is we want to be predictable for the company so that we can they can at least understand exactly what it's going to take as we work with them to meet their needs.
Jared Isaacman, the billionaire who made history by completing the first ever private spacewalk during the recent Polaris Dawn mission, has drawn a lot of people's attention to space tourism. With growing interest, what role does Space Florida see itself playing in this developing, emerging market?
Well, I think space tourism is just one component of the larger industry when we look at the future. And it could be $1 trillion industry in about 10 years. At least some of the forecasts indicate that. And space tourism was going to play a big part of that. And we are already working with several space tourism companies. And as we see things like, commercial crew activities happen where you have private crews going up to the space station or doing spacewalks. Our toolkit falls right alongside. And so as that industry expands, we can expand right along with it.
Along with increased attention, you also get increased criticisms and concerns, such as environmental fears, worries about growing amounts of space debris, and how to make launch practices cleaner, greener, and sustainable. Are these just federal issues, or do state space agencies, like Space Florida, have a role to play?
Well, I think it's a partnership when it comes down to it. And then, just focusing maybe more so on the environmental side, that I'm a firm believer that a spaceport and the environment around it are synergistic and they have to work together. And so the great thing is, as a spaceport grows, we want to make sure that we're being diligent and vigilant, actually, about the environment around it. And so we will continue to work with our Space Force partners, our NASA partners, and of course, all of the state entities that get involved to make sure that happens in the future.
Great. We are going to take a short break, but we will be right back with more with Space Florida CEO Robert Long. And when we return, we'll discuss the challenges his state is facing to develop a skilled workforce to support the growing space industry. And we'll learn more about recently formed Florida University Space Research Consortium. So don't go away.
From national security to surface transportation, aerospace, and beyond, we're taking ideas to reality. ENSCO Aerospace Engineering.
Welcome back to ENSCO Insights. We are talking with Robert Long, CEO of Space Florida. Rob, when we left, we were talking about the challenges facing the space industry due to growth, public interest, and competition. I read recently that Space Florida is collaborating with the Florida University Space Research Consortium to foster innovation, research, and workforce development in the state's space industry. Can you give us some more specifics on how that's going to work?
Yeah, the consortium that was formed between the University of Florida, University of Central Florida, and Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University was really the first of its kind, where three universities at the state level came together directly to support a NASA center. And I think it's a really exciting opportunity for not only for those universities, not only for our partners at NASA, but really for the entire state as that gets off its initial beginnings and then comes to grow and then develops that really tight cohesion between the research that's going to go on as part of NASA and then, of course, the university. So it's really just the first step. And we're looking forward to that growing and developing, maturing over the years, especially, potentially adding more universities to the mix. And so it's exciting.
Yeah, it's the beginning of something big, huh?
That's right.
That's amazing. Are there any other strategies Space Florida is implementing to develop a skilled workforce to support the growing space industry in the state?
Yes, absolutely. We recently started a program we call the Space Florida Academy program. And what that is, it's really partnering with both industry and school districts across the state and counties where we have identified the critical skills necessary to support the aerospace industry. And those schools have agreed to focus their critical skills training on those areas. And so it's really a great ability for us to match what industry really needs with the pipeline of students that are coming. And, we hear talent is one of the number one issues that we hear about when we talk to companies as they want to grow and expand. And so we're pleased to be able to work across the state and with at least 23 counties right now to be able to expand that program.
Yeah, exactly. You're giving that space, that avenue for talent to thrive, to grow, which is amazing.
That's right.
We are running out of time, but I want to get back to my opening statement about the rapidly growing number of spaceports domestically and internationally. How does Space Florida plan to maintain Florida's competitive edge in the space race?
Well, when you look at especially on the space industry side or specific to maybe even just the spaceport and the spaceport system that we have here across the state, it's really about capacity. And we are really keenly focused on looking ahead and trying to understand what is the future needs of the spaceport system. We estimate that, at a minimum, we would expect that's about 5,000 metric tons that would have to come from Earth to orbit over by 10 years from now. And so we're looking at what's the infrastructure required to meet those needs. And right now, we know that there's some infrastructure needs, especially here at the Cape Canaveral area. And so we're working with looking for creative solutions with our partners on the Space Force side and on the NASA side, so we can invest in some of this infrastructure and really try to stay ahead of the wave of increasing commercial activity here in the coming years.
Well, we wish you continued success. Thanks for joining us today, Rob.
Absolutely.
Thanks for watching ENSCO Insights. Be sure to stay connected to the Space Intel Report for the latest updates on the space industry. And check back here for the next episode of ENSCO Insights as we continue to probe the fascinating world of space exploration and technology. I'm Brooke Brown. See you next time.